going on, everyone? I hope you're all having a great day. Welcome back to some more Kerbal Space Program. I do apologize that it has been some time since my last upload, but this one will be maybe just a little bit longer to make up for it, possibly. And we'll have another episode come out here shortly, but as you can see here in the vehicle assembly building, I've got a big old rocket ship, man. We're going to take this rocket ship and try to rendezvous over with the Kerbin Space Station. It's going to be pretty freaking rad. You know what I'm saying? Here we are applying some power. I'm going to get the separation from the standing stuff. And it was actually pretty difficult to fly and maneuver this thing. It was, as you can see, going quite slow. And it really started turning and yawing in that direction, kind of just on its own. You know, this is one that I picked up from the pre-save files in the VAB, so I ended up doing a 180 with it, like that. And we actually do get into orbit, and this thing has a ton of Delta V. I was honestly thinking I was about to abort this mission and retry it. Here I am taking a bunch of screenshots. As you can see, I mean, it looks really, really beautiful with the mod I have of re-entry. You know, it kind of makes the plasma look awesome. But that was a beautiful, beautiful sunrise over the surface of Kerbin right there. You know what I'm saying? And made our apoapsis way too tall. You know, like I was saying, I was thinking I was going to bail on this mission, but we had plenty of Delta V left. So, just getting that rendezvous with the space station, we kind of saw a bit of it right there, very briefly. And we're getting down to a really close encounter, but we're going to have to get rid of the payload we have in order to complete our mission here. The payload we got, which is, you know, I'm talking about the extra fuel thingy. But we're going to use up as much of it as we can here, and then we're going to go ahead and get rid of that Johnson. Very, very beautiful. We're in orbit, man. We're trying to get this Kerbal Space Station locked in. You know, I want this thing to look cool and be rad, and this is just the first iteration of it, you know. We might deorbit the thing and make another one. I don't know if anyone has any suggestions or recommendations. Anybody watching this video? But if you don't want to comment, that's alright. Just relax while I rendezvous myself to the space station here. It's very, very beautiful. Look at that beautiful thing. I should have went into the cockpit cam and taken a look at it from this point, but I was pretty locked in on figuring out which orientation was best because, as you know, we have that escape pod sitting right there. Escape pod, not escape, but escape. That's how it's pronounced. It's pronounced escape. The escape pod. Sorry for popping so hard. We're getting our orientation kind of locked in here. I'm using everything manual right here. Really, really doing a decent job, I like to say. I like to think so, at least. And we're just doing this is all for science. You know what I'm saying? That's the reason for this. Just seeing if it can be done. And, you know, changing the control node to that docking port, it kind of makes the thing fly a little weird and had a little bit of a scare here, but we do get the dock success. That was a huge success. Man. Oh man. I'm talking about big success. Let me tell you what, we're dialed in. Can you even believe it? These green men, the Kerbonauts. The Kerbastronauts. The Kerbals. They dialed in. Successful docking with the Kerb National Space Station. Now, kind of the next thing to do here, I believe, is work on a vessel to go back and land on the moon. The reason for this mission this time is to try and see if we can find a flat surface on the face of the moon to build a base, hopefully. I think that would absolutely be fantastic. And as you can see, we're attaching a rover here. Built this little rover. Kind of took me a while to get it locked in such a way. I had to break out the cheats and see if that would work, but I had to look up a couple of YouTube tutorials on how to actually combine the rover with a current vessel. And here we are just testing it now on the launch pad. Gonna make sure everything works and make sure we can actually decouple the rover and it doesn't blow up. And I think during this test I see that we're gonna accidentally blow up something here under the vessel itself, so we need to reorient the way that the rover is placed. But those engines do seem to have enough power to lift the vessel, so I end up going with a little bit of a wider stance, adding some more fuel, which I'm very glad we did. We ended up very much needing more fuel. It was almost real tight on fuel with all the weight, but dropping the rover, we didn't take it back with us on the way back home. And yeah, I was really surprised with the rover too. There must have been some type of big update since I played Kerbal Space Program when I was really, really young, because the rover drove really, really well on the surface of the moon. I was not expecting that. Here we are with the Lander Mark II vessel. We're going to take off now and see if it'll land, and then I believe we pop out the rover just to make sure there's no conflicting things and it'll explode or something like that. We just need to make sure that everything will work once we are actually on the surface of the moon. We don't need to run into any issues or have any problems come up, and a bit of a hard landing there from the first person cam, but the undocking was perfect and the rover's great. The rover does have a reaction control wheel. If it doesn't have it on there now, I do end up adding one to it. And it also has computer controls, so it can be controlled while no one is in it, which is very crucial for having it flip back over while we are on the surface of the moon. Got our landing lights and everything so we can see where we're going once we are hitting the surface. My procedure of finding a flat, level surface on the moon is just going for the landing and going for it. I'm pretty sure you can do something with KerbNet. It seems maybe to find flat terrain. Yeah, I'm not really too sure. The way we're going to launch this one is not going to be in the traditional Apollo style. It's going to be in two separate vessels in order to get to the moon. So we're going to launch this all by itself, unmanned, into a bit of a higher orbit than the Kerbal National Space Station. It's going to be a little bit higher in orbit, a little higher. And then we will build the ship that's going to rendezvous and launch that Johnson manned. It's going to be a manned mission to space to then rendezvous with the moon lander. It's going to be a couple-day mission here, and we're also going to spend a lot of time on the surface of the moon, multiple days, maybe even a week. a week plus on the surface just to see the dark side, see what happens when it gets dark on the surface of the moon. But here we go, to launching our lunar vessel, the Lunar Escape Module, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And our solid rocket boosters are going to provide very ample lift, extremely ample. The amount of ampleness can simply not be measured here in this case, and I do believe this was a successful launch on the first try, which, we always love to see, having a nice, successful launch on the first try. Even though that happened, there's no problems. That right there will be the one and only issue we have on this entire flight. Absolutely monumental. It's completely monumental. An absolutely monumental undertaking, and it's just the computer flying right now. It's a robot. It's a robot in space, flying into orbit with our Lunar Escape Module. Setting up, getting ready for a simple rendezvous. And I do end up saving both of these vessels to use again for a future mission in which we will be landing on the surface of Minmus. That is going to be a mission we complete in the future. That will not be in the next episode. However, we will be completing that one in the future. It will be absolutely fantastic. I believe in the next episode we're going to be just kind of working on the space station, among other things, bringing the plane back, I believe, from space, I think, or maybe not. I don't even know. We'll see what we do in the next episode. Might be some unmanned missions, maybe, setting up for a rover to go land somewhere cool, or maybe just dialing ourselves in for the Minmus landing. Even maybe we can just go ahead and work on that. But this is going to be our extremely overkill rocket that's going to get us to the surface of the moon, of which we are not going to be landing on in this episode. In fact, that's what the next episode's going to be. That's right. The next episode, we're going to be landing on the surface of the moon. I'm just now remembering. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this heavily overpowered, heavily massive Delta V. The amount of Delta V on this thing is huge. And we have way too much of it, but that ends up being a good thing. It ends up being a really, really good thing. In fact, it's all coming back to me now. I remember I was having computer problems. Actually, the game crashed on me at the end here, and I even edited out one of the takeoffs we do. Because the computer crashed in the middle of the launch. I think it was this one, actually. But yeah, we're going to get a successful rendezvous, at least here before the end of the episode. But next time we do post something, it will be the mission to the surface of the moon and the return. We're going to try to return these guys home safe. And we drive the rover on the surface, like what I was talking about. The rover drives really, really good. I love the way the rover drives on the surface. I'm really, really surprised at how good it drives. I remember back when I played Kerbal Space Program, long time ago, rovers and whatnot would just flip. If you go any kind of speed over a couple meters per second, and it would just bounce around and flip. I mean, maybe it's because I had stabilizers on it, and I really don't know. Maybe that's why I did turn SAS off, but that was a cool sunset right there off the surface. But going ahead and getting ready for the rendezvous. A computer is controlling the Lunar Escape Module right here. That's what this is. It's the Lunar Escape Module. And it's flying over to the boys in this huge Saturn V-like vessel that essentially hasn't staged yet. Has a lot of fuel. And they're going to dock very, very successfully. So, and then we're going to go land on the surface of the moon in the next episode. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one. And, if you can, leave a like on it. I would really appreciate that a lot. It's a bit of a rough docking procedure here, but hey, we're flying over the surface of Kerbin at thousands of miles per hour, so it's not that easy. The next episode's going to be a ton of fun, though. It was a lot of fun filming it. I really enjoyed landing on the surface of the moon, and I'm looking forward to going to Minmus, as suggested by someone. And then, of course, if you are not subscribed to the channel, please do. I appreciate, the people that have stopped by and left some comments and stuff, and some suggestions, so I appreciate you guys a lot. I do plan on coming out with some more keyboard typing ASMR here soon, but thanks a lot for watching. I heavily appreciate everyone, and you guys all have a great rest of your day. Thanks a lot again, and goodbye.